Hello and welcome. 12 noon. This is generally done by Gargi with Bharat, Vaibhav, and Devashish. Today it's me because they have just reached Ahmedabad and are settling down in the hotel. So Shubha and Gargi and Rohit Juglan will be at the India practice in the evening at 5 o'clock. So we are deputizing for them and plenty to talk about. Mohammad Shami, 8 for in the Ranji Trophy semi-final. Is he telling the selectors that I am playing a separate World Cup? India might play the T20 World Cup. I am playing the long form World Cup. Reminding you that come Sri Lanka, come the test matches in August, there is a man called Mohammad Shami who's still relevant. There is the Mohammad Shami factor. Remember, India will travel to New Zealand, and Mohammad Shami, if anything, could be an absolute handful in New Zealand along with Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah. Is this a reminder that he's not over yet? Number one. Number two, panic in the Pakistan camp. I'll ask Bharat, Devashish, and Vaibhav. We are told Mike Hassan's job is on the line. That's what I'm being told. I'm also being told by Shomik that Shaheen Afridi will be benched for the next match. Is this a knee-jerk reaction in the middle of the World Cup? Because they qualified for the Super 8, for God's sake. Why are you doing it after one loss against India? Is this Pakistan pressing the panic button? Vaibhav, I'll start with you. First on Mohammad Shami. Is this a reminder that he's not done yet?
Definitely, and ever since the domestic season has started, whether it is Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, Vijay Hazare Trophy, he's been continuously playing all the matches. That tells you that he's fit. And if you play a long season and if you are performing as well, that itself is an indicator that the player is fit and he's performing really well. But now it's up to the selectors. I mean, I have said this before as well. In India, what I have observed is in India, the aging fast bowlers, they just they are being outstated by the selectors. The only fast bowler that I remember was Ashish Nehra, who got selected at 35 or 36 for the 2016 T20 World Cup, which was held in India. But Shami was performing in Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy as well. But at that time also he was not being considered. Now the thing is, now chief selectors Ajit Agarkar's tenure is done. Now whoever takes over as the new chief selector, how he's looking at Shami is because India have the depth in the fast bowling group. India have a lot of fast bowlers in their ranks. So now, are you going to go back to Shami the old ways, or you are going to go with the new bowlers? Because you have a Prasidh Krishna, you have Akashdeep, you have a Mukesh Kumar as well, who did nothing wrong before being outstated by the selectors. So there are a lot of options. Now it's up to selectors how they are looking at Shami, because Shami, what I saw last time when I saw him in live during an IPL match, he lost that zip. Even during the Champions Trophy, yes, he took wickets. There was a fifer against Bangladesh, but that zip was missing. And that is the zip for what Shami is known for. So I don't think, selectors will look back at Shami. They will recall him just because in Indian conditions, it is different. When you go outside Sri Lanka, it will be tough. And Shami doesn't look his old self. Now he has lost that zip. He has lost a pace, a bit of pace, and these are the factors that will contribute for selectors not to recall him. I don't think Shami will get a recall.
Bharat, same question before I go to Devashish. Is it fair on someone? You've picked a bag full of wickets. You've done it in domestic cricket. You have said we will prioritize. You got a Shardul Thakur back for the England series, to be specific. New Zealand series coming up. Will it be fair on Mohammad Shami? Suppose he picks up a 12 for 13 for, takes Bengal to the final, despite that still to be kept out, and also has a decent IPL. He's consistently performed in domestic cricket. Bharat Ramraj.
Yeah, at least deserves a fitting farewell. If not, India going back to Mohammad Shami or a period of time, at least deserves one test or a one ODI or T20I somewhere where you can give him a fitting farewell. See, Shami Saban was a great fighter. I think his great attitude. He had almost a career-threatening injury. That's what I would say at his age. And in the last IPL, it almost felt as if he has lost a little bit of nip in his bowling, but he never seems to give up. I think that is his greatest strength. He's taking wickets in the Ranji Trophy. So the selectors have to at least see how he is bowling, whether he has got that little bit of nip back, whether he has got that little bit of pace back. So that is selectors' job. So at least they have to see how he's bowling or how he's bowling in these games. And if they don't want to go back to Mohammad Shami for the tours of New Zealand or the Test series in Sri Lanka, at least give him a fitting farewell. As you know, even a couple of years ago, England gave a fitting farewell to Jimmy Anderson Mind you, had just basically one bad series, that was the Ashes 2023. Otherwise, he was doing quite well, but still moved on from him. That's fair enough. But at least I allowed him to play one Test match at Lords, and then he retired. So at least that in the Indian selectors or the Indian think tank can do with the Mohammad Shami, because he served the country for so long. So at least give him one farewell match where he can do well and give him a fitting farewell.
Devashish?
Someone who has picked 36 wickets in the season and his performance in this all important semi-final, I think rather than talking to media, he should make his performance talk on the field, and that is what you want. Yes, recently in the last game only, we saw RP Singh was there in Kalyani, where Shami was seen having a chat with him. So clearly, either way, I think the selectors need to have a word with him as to what exactly is their status, whether they want to pick him or not. That there should be a clarity. And also, and for Shami, I would say that the most important thing will be to win the Ranji Trophy for Bengal. And assuming that Karnataka might be playing in the final, and that power pack batting lineup of Karnataka, if Shami can win the final for Bengal, I think there will be no stopping Shami from making a comeback. It means and that will be a statement performance from Mohammad Shami. If Shami can lead Bengal to Ranji Trophy fine title against Karnataka with such a star-studded batting lineup, I think then selectors might have to force Shami into the side. So I don't know. I'm not too sure about the series against Sri Lanka, but definitely for New Zealand series with conditions in favor, where you have spoken about the Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj. I think these are the three best options in that swimming and swinging conditions. And I think age should not be a factor if Shami keeps performing, which he is. And obviously, I don't know how much of IPL performance will count, but definitely as far as Ranji Trophy, he has done all it takes to him in at least sending a signal to the selectors.
No, IPL performance should not count. What should count for the IPL is that if he plays the 14 games, if he plays the 14 games for Lucknow Super Giants, means his body is holding up. Means there is no way that he's asking for rest or he's not doing it, because the rigors of the IPL, the travel, the push and all of that means that his body is still holding up. And I agree with you, Devashish, that age should not be a factor. I agree with Vaibhav that Indian selectors have kind of had a predetermined mindset. I also agree with Vaibhav that they may sort of go with that. But Bharat makes an important point that Jimmy Anderson got a farewell. This is the way to treat legends. Virat and Rohit are at least playing the 50-over format. Mohammad Shami. See, for me, ultimately, there's one thing that matters, and that's performance. There's no this thing about domestic cricket or international cricket. If somebody is performing at this level, sports science allows you to add 2-3 years these days. Mohammad Shami, and Devashish makes a superb point that if he takes down KL Rahul, Devdutt Padikkal, that batting lineup of Karnataka, or if Bengal is able to take that lineup down, come on. Bengal has not won a Ranji Trophy since 1989-90. If they win a Ranji Trophy led by Mohammad Shami or his performances and Sudeep Ghorami, obviously, this would be some statement. So that's the Mohammad Shami segment as far as we are concerned. I think all of us think collectively this is a great thing for Indian cricket. He's reminding the selectors he has the hunger. He's reminding the selectors he's fit enough. He's not missed a single match. And he's also giving Bengal fans something important to cheer about. The importance of domestic cricket. You want a Mohammad Shami kind of performer for us to be able to talk domestic cricket in the middle of a World Cup. And he's like that. An absolutely inspirational figure in that team. Bharat, quickly, before I go to Vaibhav again, people are asking Sudeep Ghorami 299, getting another 100. Do you see these performances matter, at least open up India A doors so that a semi-final 100, quarter-final 100, can that open up an India A door at least for Sudeep Ghorami? Bharat?
Yeah, at least you should play India A. That is something similar with Aqib Nabi as well. Both should be playing for the India A squad at least, or India A lineup, because they have been putting up good performances. Even Aqib Nabi is taking wickets, is scoring runs, and same with Ghorami, scored runs in the last game. Here again is doing well. I think he's a very promising batter. Watched a little bit of him. He looks like a very promising batter. Even when Bengal played here last year, a couple of years ago in the Ranji Trophy, I watched him and he looked quite good. So these are the kind of players that at least you need to give them chances in India A, because that's a stepping stone. It feels as if that's a stepping stone to get into the Indian Test team. Looking at how the think tank or how the selectors are going about their business, because Devdutt Padikkal scored 100 in 2024 against Australia and suddenly got into the Indian Test side. Sudarshan scored 100 against Australia and he also got in the Test side. So from that point of view, definitely he should get into the India squad, as should someone like Akib Nabi.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I think it could well be a toss-up between Devdutt Padikkal and Sudeep Ghorami for that spot, because Sai Sudarshan will be under pressure. Devdutt Padikkal also has had a fantastic domestic season and is getting mature. Can he kind of push the number 3 button as well? Devdutt Padikkal has had a tremendous domestic season, and when you talk up domestic cricket, you must reward these performances. Karnataka has been special, boss. KL Rahul 200s, Devdutt Padikkal 100 after 100. You've got to give credit. Look at Ishan Kishan, Buchi Babu, Mustaq Ali making a comeback, and look at what he's doing in the World Cup. It's domestic cricket. It's IPL. It's and IPL is also domestic cricket, by the way. So it's domestic cricket that's kind of helping these people to come through. Vaibhav, question. Pakistan, Shaheen Afridi about to get dropped is what we are told by Shomik Chakraborty. Mike Hessan's job on the line because Mohsin Naqvi thinks he's the one who's taken that call. That country and the comedy of errors doesn't stop. Vaibhav.
Doesn't stop at all. Post 2023 World Cup, a lot has changed, and it has been a theme, recirculating theme, means continuous changes for no reasons. Once upon a time, they handed a job of director of cricket to Mohammad Hafiz for a 4-year. It was a 4-year contract, and then after 2 months, he was removed from his job. Then what happened? Then Jason Gillespie was taken over as Pakistan Test team head coach. Then Gary Custon was appointed white ball head coach. Then after 2 months, both of them were snapped. So it has been a recurring theme in Pakistan cricket, not just at administration level, not just at the coaching staff. Even if you look at the players, their squads, last Champions Trophy, it was completely different to what they are playing in this World Cup. So there has been a constant changes, and that's why Pakistan cricket is suffering, because there has been a lot of changes. People are insecure in regards to their position, whether it's within the team, within the administration setup. And this, I have said this many times, that when you make these continuous changes, there is no clarity, there is insecurity, and all these factors contribute to your team not performing. And that is what has been happening with Pakistan cricket, and it is continuously, and it will continue to happen if Mohsin Naqvi stays at the helm.
Devashish, that same similar question. I mean, all said and done, you have lost one game. You played reasonably well against the US. You came through against Netherlands, a match you should have lost. Max O'Dowd's catch. But at least you have made the Super 8, or almost on the verge of Super 8 qualification. If you win Namibia, you should make it. Why this knee-jerk reaction now? I mean, you're talking about Mike Hessan in the middle of a World Cup. You're talking about Shaheen. I still understand you will get Salman Mirza, who is decently informed. But to talk about your coach in the middle of a World Cup, ask these questions, all of a sudden there is a lot of flutter. Is this going to help Pakistan? Because look, Sri Lanka, you and I were talking this yesterday, there are still multiple matches there, 4-5 spinners. They will have advantage. Yesterday, Sri Lankan spinners choked Australia. Pakistan has an opportunity to go the distance in this World Cup. Only country which will play their matches, all their matches in Colombo. They will not have to travel. So aren't they missing a trick here? Is it once again Pakistan destroying Pakistan?
I will take what Bharat mentioned the last time. Obviously, for Pakistan, you don't want Mohsin Naqvi to be anywhere around. Means if he is around, then Pakistan will always have a problem or two. But having said that, yes, clearly, Shaheen Shah Afridi has not looked to be at his best. Means nine overs for only 100 and giving away 101 runs, and he looked pathetic against India. So and it's not about that one single match, and it is about someone like a Nasim Shah or Salman Nazir is sitting out. So I think it would be fair on them to be perhaps giving a try them for an game against Namibia. Yes, I know that it is a must-win game for Namibia, but Pakistan are too good a side to be winning against Namibia. You expect Pakistan to win and clinch a spot in the Super 8, but for them to go forward in the Super 8, I think they need to sort out their playing combinations, and that is very important. Means someone like a Babar Azam, who has been struggling, Means where are his runs and what is his scoring rate apart from that knock against USA? I think the Pakistan have plenty of problems. Means, and most importantly, it's their playing combinations. Particularly given they should always go in for a Nasim Shah or a Salman Nazir, because I was there at the net practice at the Premadasa Stadium. I think both Nasim Shah and Salman were giving their best by bowling full tilt, but eventually it was Shaheen Shah Afridi who got picked. So I think that is something that needs to be looked at. But talking about the removal of Mike Hesson in the middle of a World Cup, does that even make a sense? To be talking about the ouster of a Mike Hesson from his role, and it's a very crucial stage, the Super 8 coming up. Pakistan in all probability will make it to the Super 8. So I think that is the difference. And also talking about the Pakistan ex-cricketers, they are also not favoring anything. Be it a Shoaib Akhtar or Shaheen Shah Afridi, they are calling for the axing of Shaheen Shah Afridi or a Babar Azam. I mean, this is not the time to make such comments and to putting more pressure on them. Even this media, Pakistani media is also to be blamed. Yes, Bhudia.
By the way, Bharat, Canada 150 for 1 against New Zealand, Yuvraj Samra century. This World Cup, the associates have pushed the bar. Ben 180, 25 balls, 60 against England. Yuvraj Samra century against New Zealand. USA almost nailing India. Netherlands almost taking down Pakistan. I think there is enough that the ICC should now say, boss, associate country World Cup will be the next reality. You know, this has been a really good World Cup for the associates. Bharat, I know you follow associates cricket very well. It should make you pleased that ultimately these countries are stepping up.
No, they're stepping up and they've had exposure in the recent past in T20 cricket. I think that is the main factor to look at. A few of the players have also played in the leagues. That's also helping them. So yes, T20 cricket is, I think, the right kind of vehicle for the associates to come through the ranks and show their mettle. And yes, going forward, hopefully there would be a T20 World Cup for associate nations. One has to remember, even if you look at tennis, there is something called as Generation Next ATP Finals. Something similar can be held in cricket as well, a World Cup for associate nations. And it has been great to watch all these associate nations doing well. Honestly, I felt as if Nepal would take down England at one point of time with 10 runs needed in 1 over. And yes, when Italy lost at first 2 wickets against Jofra Archer, I thought this match is truly over. But in maybe 40 minutes, when I switched on the TV, I was a little bit surprised. Yes, they're still doing well, and that Stewart right at the end, the kind of sixes that he smashed. It was great to watch, and Netherlands definitely should have beaten Pakistan, a very experienced side. I think that Netherlands won, but somehow they found a way to lose that game. I think that's the only thing that is going against some of these associates, that they're not able to, what can you say, go past the finish line. But that can only happen if they get more and more experience, if they get that kind of funding, more funding, which actually US captain Monang Patil actually talked about it, that they need more funding. If these things happen, then definitely they can surprise the established nations in the next World Cup itself.
For the ICC, you don't need further vindication in adding teams. This World Cup is a success from the standpoint of the ICC. So Jai Shah and his team stand vindicated. Each one of these teams, Nepal, Bharat is spot on. Nepal, whether it is Nepal, whether it is Netherlands, whether it is any of these sides, Italy, Canada, each one of these sides, USA, they have done their bit. And this is fantastic to see, absolutely fantastic to see these associate nations pushing the bar. Devashish, multiple times we have seen this in this World Cup. Before I go to Vaibhav, you know, this is so good for world cricket that these countries are all stepping up. The ICC will take note. And this is why Pakistan, the stupid call of boycott should not happen, because that's where the money goes to the associates. The selective boycott would have ruined associate cricket structure. Have some social responsibility, because for world cricket also this is important. Devashish.
Yeah, absolutely. And this World Cup clearly has proven that this associate country, they are no more just there to fill up slots. I think they have very well put up their performances, be it their Monente brothers or Mosca for Italy. I think and when you talk about the USA, obviously there are as many as 9 players in the USA side, but still they are representing USA and they take pride in playing for the USA, much so the Netherlands. And so I think this is clearly the only disappointment for me has to be Nepal. Means I would have thought that Nepal, means after that incredible performance in England, one would have thought that they would have put up a better performance in that next game. But unfortunately, that was not the case. But overall, if you ask me, I think this has been a brilliant show by the associate countries, and they just validated that why they are here. Means obviously it's and
Very well spoken. Very well spoken.
Please add
Vaibhav,
one point.
Yeah.
One point on just few words. They have a tendency to choke over a period of time. Hopefully, at some point of time, under pressure, they tend to lose the plot. Nepal. So hopefully, at some point of time, they will get better at it, because it's not been over 2 years or 3 years, but over 2 decades. Nepal have a tendency to lose the plot under pressure and kind of choke. Maybe at some point of time, they will get better at it.
By the way, Sudeep Gharami out for a duck in the second innings. Bengal 4 for 2. That's the start. Bengal 4 for 2. Sudeep Chatterjee out for 0. Akib Nabi, Sudeep Gharami out for 0. Sunil Kumar. So Bengal 4 for 2 against Jammu and Kashmir. This match will be a full-on result. There is no question of a first innings lead or anything. Bengal 4 for 2. Anushtup will have to step up along with Ishwaran for Bengal to mount a strong riposte in the second innings and put up a total. Vaibhav, the question I wanted to ask you is Zimbabwe. I did not mention them as associates. They have been around, full team taking out Australia. After last night, can we now say Zimbabwe almost done? They will not really lose that badly to Ireland and Sri Lanka. Can we now say Zimbabwe smelling the coffee of the Super 8?
Definitely, and they have a inspiration in Sikandar Raza. They have a very dedicated leader, and that is what they have been doing well. That in the last, they were not there in the last T20 World Cup in USA and Caribbean. So they have taken a huge stride from there. They have developed some really good fast bowlers in Brad Evans, Richard Nagarwa, Blessing Muzarbani has always been a great prospect. But now what they have been doing right is they have some really good batters in their top orders. Brian Bennett is a find. We used to talk about Hamilton Masakadza at times. Hamilton Masakadza used to be the only batter used to take Zimbabwe cricket forward. Now it's Brian Bennett. Ryan Burl is a great all-rounder. He has got that fighting spirit. A day before that Australia game, he was so confident. I was listening to his press conference. He said, we will defeat Australia. So he was very confident in his own skill, and he was one of the major contributors of that win. So that tells you that there is a lot of confidence in that Zimbabwe camp, and Ireland will be under pressure because their captain Paul Stirling is not there. Paul Stirling is out of the tournament. Lorcan Tucker will lead the team. Obviously, he was not there in the last game as well, but still Ireland won. That was one-man show. Lorcan Tucker, that was one-man show. But this game, Zimbabwe will definitely start as favorites. And as Mitchell Marsh said, last night he said that we will root for Italy. We will root for, obviously, Ireland, just because Ireland need to beat Zimbabwe in order for Australia to remain alive. And then, obviously, they have to win their game against Oman as well. But it will be a Zimbabwe game to lose against Ireland.
Very well put, Bharat. A lot of people, Syed Nizamuddin, I think many others have also asked this. Pitches, excellent pitches. ICC should be commended. No batting highways that 250 scores, bat ball, good contest. That's what makes cricket interesting, not these kind of 240 wickets. I've been very impressed with the pitches. This World Cup makes it competitive, Bharat.
See, obviously, I'm not a fan of those kind of pitches where one team scores 260 and your best ball goes for a 6. That is not how it should be. If a bowler bowls a good ball, then it should be respected. But that is not what was happening during that India versus New Zealand series. To some extent, in a couple of games during that India versus South Africa series. So it's great to see there's a little more. What can you say? There is a little more in the wicket for the pace bowlers, even for the pace bowlers, for the spinners definitely. Even if you consider the pace bowlers, the kind of wickets that we saw at Wankhede, there's a little bit of nip in the surface. There's a little bit of tennis ball bounce. So the surfaces have definitely helped both the pace bowlers as well as the spinners, and that will also test the batters. The batters then have to show their mettle. It's not just standing in the crease, playing through the line, hitting some 5 6s in an over. That is not how it should be. Then it is better to bring in some what can you say, bowling machines instead of bowlers. Why do you have bowlers then? You just bring in bowling machines and they can bowl 6 deliveries in a row. Whatever the batsman wants to let him bowl, and the batter can go and hit six sixes. So from that perspective, it is great to see that the pitches have been good. Just want to add one point about Zimbabwe. I disagree a little bit with my colleague in the sense that if you look at their batting lineup, yes, they have some decent batters, Bennett and all, Sikandar Azab, Ryan Bull. But outside of it, if you leave these three batters, I think Zimbabwe have a little bit of a problem with the top six. And that is where I think if Ireland get it right, they might slip into some kind of a problem, especially if they're batting second with that batting lineup.
Earlier they only had one batter, that was Hamilton Masakadza. Now they at least have 3-4 batters whom they can rely on. That was my only point.
Okay, I like these healthy arguments. Good, because this is how it should be. And by the way, look at this. Both of these guys follow their international cricket closely. That's why you can have informed discussions with our people. I mean, these are not people who are sitting there and just talking nonsense like you see in multiple other platforms. I don't want to name. Each one of us know what platforms we are talking about. These are jokes, and when I see the kind of discourse, the level of discourse that there goes in some of these platforms, it's a shocking discourse. I mean, the level of pathetic, absolutely the level of arguments. Okay, last couple of minutes on the show. Devashish, tomorrow India plays. Do you envisage experimentation? Somebody like a Washington Sundar getting a game? Do you envisage something like that? Because you are going into the Super 8 stage. In case there is an injury, do you want to kind of test your bench strength now that you've done the job? Do you want a Washington Sundar? Maybe for say someone like a Kuldeep Yadav can rest up, or even a Rinku Singh, or even a Shivam Dube, just to give these guys a game so that you have them ready. Your thoughts, Devashish?
Yeah, Boreda, but definitely not rest someone like Abhishek Sharma who has been out of runs. Means you want him to bat, because definitely Sanju Samson has been given enough opportunities. The last thing you want is to give him another opportunity against the game against Namibia. So I would rather stick with Abhishek Sharma. Yes, for on the bowling aspect, you want someone like Arshdeep Singh to get a nod in. And obviously Washington Sundar could very well be tried, but I don't see 3-4 changes. That should not have happened, because especially with just one more match before you head into the Super 8. It is all about, this format is all about momentum, and obviously most of the players in this team, barring the exception of Abhishek Sharma, to some extent Rinku Singh, I think this has been a totally team effort. Everyone has contributed in the cause, yes, but still I think there can always be a provision to try, and perhaps this is the last opportunity before you actually play your Super 8 matches. So not be a bad idea to get in, try in Washington Sundar as well.
Yeah, that's the point that I was making, Vaibhav. I'll close with Bharat. You go first. That for me, two people, say a Arshdeep Singh comes in for a Jasprit Bumrah, because Bumrah is well and truly in sync. We've seen that. So Arshdeep Singh gets another game. He's an important performer. He's gone for a few runs in the first couple. So you give Arshdeep Singh a game for Bumrah, and you might try a Washington Sundar, because you then have no chance of experimenting anymore. Vaibhav?
See, like you said, Arshdeep can definitely come in place of Bumrah for the game against Namibia. Ahmedabad obviously is has been
Netherlands. India has played Namibia. Yeah.
Netherlands. So against Netherlands, you obviously can try a lot of things, and most importantly for me would be to try and give some game time to Washington Sundar, because since that injury hasn't played any sort of cricket. So, and you need to give time to your French players, because if somebody pulls up sore or they have some injury concerns, you need to prepare your backup players as well. That's what we were talking about in the build-up of the New Zealand series as well, that you have to give players, the French players, chances who are there part of their 15-member squad, not somebody like Shreyas Iyer who was there for the New Zealand series but didn't get the opportunity. So you could sense what the team management was thinking, and that is why Washington Sundar should play in Ahmedabad. Of course, in your first choice 11, it is Rinku Singh, but I think in place of Rinku, you should get in Washington Sundar just to get him some game time before the Super 8. Maybe when you will play in games venues like Chennai, MA Chidambar, where squares are long, boundaries are long. So there you will have to go after for then you can try Washington Sundar, home ground. He knows the conditions really well. That for those reasons, you need to give time to Washington Sundar, who hasn't played any sort of cricket. And Arshdeep, I think whenever the grounds will be small, I think you will see Kuldeep being benched and then Arshdeep making way again, because this has been a theme for Indian team that on small grounds they go more for Arshdeep Singh, not Kuldeep Yadav. I think Varun Chakravarti, Akshar Patel, these are your primary spinners, and then the Indian team management doesn't think that they will need a third spinner for small grounds, because there are chances that the third spinner may leak runs. So I think 2 spinners enough, and Arshdeep Singh coming in place of Kuldeep Yadav is what I am seeing for the Ahmedabad game.
Bharat, same question. Your thoughts on Ahmedabad? I definitely want to see Washington Sundar get a game. I also want to see Arshdeep Singh come back for. I would have played, because Bharat Vaibhav's right. You would play Varun and you would play Akshar as your 2 premier spinners. I would actually want to get Washington Sundar for Kuldeep Yadav, give him a game to try and see how he goes. And I would play Arshdeep for Bumrah to try and get Arshdeep ready also. These are my 2 changes. Bharat, your thoughts?
Yeah, they can get in Washington Sundar. I think he's a very underrated spinner in T20 cricket, in the sense that he can do what Roston Chase has been doing for West Indies in a game or 2, that is go round the wicket to right-handers and just restrict the runs. That is basically fire it in or stump-to-stump line. So that is something that Washington Sundar did it even against South Africa in T20I last year. So he can replace Kuldeep Yadav, and Kuldeep Yadav is very much a Pakistan specialist. I would look at him these days. So they can definitely think of Washington Sundar here. And Arshdeep Singh is someone who obviously brings that left arm angle. I don't have to say much about it. He swings the ball, and also he has developed that wobble seam delivery, which I think is helping him. And I would always have a left arm pace bowler in my T20 11, unless it's a turning track like at Premadasa, where you would want an extra spinner. Otherwise, one left arm bowler in T20 cricket for me is always a must. So I think Arshdeep Singh should be brought back. But having said that, it's always given that you don't want to make too many changes. Just a couple of changes are fine, because you would want to maintain the momentum in a World Cup. You don't want to. Yes, they won't lose to Netherlands. Yes, it's a given. But still, you don't want to lose momentum by making too many changes and rotating the players too many times.
Okay, so let's end here. Associates have done people proud, and Bharat said Kuldeep is Pakistan specialist. Our Kalyani specialist is traveling, so Devashish will deputize and go to Kalyani tomorrow. Our Kalyani specialist is in Ahmedabad. Otherwise, his house is just next door to the ground. So Shubhan could have just walked there. So we will give him the designation of Kalyani specialist from next time round. Okay. So on that note, let's finish this particular show. We will have Shomik from Sri Lanka with the 3 p.m. We have plenty in the pipeline. You know, our folks will all be at the press conference. India trains in the evening, 5:30 press conference, 6 o'clock India training. You have 3 of our reporters there. Devashish will travel to Kalyani tomorrow for that game. It's interestingly set up with the first 2 wickets. Plenty happening. You're seeing football with the ISL. You're seeing multiple other sports. Follow Abhishek Mishra's reports on Indian hockey. Very, 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 very disheartening to see what's going on in the Pro League. Is Craig Fulton experimenting again? Will it be necessary to now get back Manpreet Singh after being, rested or dropped, whatever you want to call it? These things will be discussed. So all sports, all action here on this platform. Thank you very much for joining me, Devashish, Bharat and Vaibhav, and to all our viewers. At 5 p.m., I will be back once again. And by that time, we will have a new sports minister in Bangladesh. Does that mean that Aminul Islam Bulbul is history? Because Bulbul has already left for Australia. So we will talk about that as well. Thanks for watching.